This is independent activity, decimals, fractions, and percents. In this first problem, they're asking us to write 0.5 as a fraction. So I'll write it out as 5/10. And I cancel out the common factors, and I end up with 1/2 for my answer. Question 2, write the decimal in numbers. So I've given the words 88 and 66/100. Okay, so and is my decimal point. There's my 88, and it says 100. So I start to the hundredths place and I count back 66, and that's my answer. Convert the fraction 11/12 to a decimal. Round your answer to 3 places if necessary. And in this case, I have 11/12. I use my calculator and divide it out. It went out 4 places. So there's my thousands place, and there's my check digit. End up rounding up to 0.917 for my answer. And number 4, write 1/3 as a decimal. Using my calculator, it does repeat. And I put an overbar to show that. Okay. And you can have 0.333 here with the overbar on top of it to show that it is repeating. The next one here is number 5. We have 9 and 4/500 as a decimal. So I broke up into 2 pieces. There's my 9, 4/500. So it would be 0.45 plus 9. It needs to be 9.45 for my answer. Write 0.18 as a fraction. So the 8 is in the hundredths place. So I put it over 100. Both of them divisible by 2. Both of them are divisible by 2. So the final answer there is 9/50. Write the decimal as numbers. In this case here, we have 257 hundred thousandths. So see the phrase 100 thousandths. So I count out 100 thousandths here. Tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10 thousandths, 100 thousandths. Then I backfill 257. 37, and then I put 0 placeholders there. Start filling in here. I have a little arrow there. Number 8, this one here. Let's see if I can get this one pulled up. Okay. I'm still working on it. Here. All right, and let me bring this over for you to see it. There you can see it. So for this problem here on the scale, you have our A and B and our C. So if we start out, what I did is I started out with this number here. And this is 2.010. All right, and if I count up, I count down 1, 0, 1, 10 becomes 0, 0, 9. I just went down 1 from 10 to 9. Okay, and from this 10 here, and if I count up 1, it will become 11. 2.011, 2.012, then one more will be 2.013. Then we have this last one here, B, at 2.014. Yeah. Okay. Okay. And then counting down, I have this 2.009, 08, 07, 06, 05, 04, 03, and there's 2.002, and that's 2.001, and then that's 2.000 right here. Okay, and if I count down 1, I have 1.999 plus the 1 will make it 2. Then I go down one more, would be 1.98998. And I go down one more, I have 1.997, and that gives me my C. So that's how you find out what decimals they are. And that's how you do that particular problem. And let's get back to this. Number 9. CJ owes $438.87 on his credit card. He returns 2 items, one for $50.96, the other for $53.03. Then he makes purchases of $37.82 and $32.24. What is the new balance on his card? So you see where he starts out with a balance. He owes this much on the card. Then he brings 2 items back. That'll be a credit there. So that's coming off his debt. Okay, so he bought back some for 50 and some for 53. So that's taking down off his debt. Then he went ahead and spent some more money for $37 and for $32. So that increased his debt. So in the end, how much did he owe? $404.94. And this one here was the reciprocal of. What is reciprocal? When the numerator and denominator change position. So if the fraction is 4/10, the reciprocal of it is going to be 10/4. And as a decimal, that's 2.5. Multiplying by 1/10. So 0.1 is the same thing as 1. Multiplying by 1/10 is the same thing as dividing by 10. Multiplying by 1/10 is the same thing as dividing by 10. It's like saying multiplying by 1/2 is the same thing as dividing by 2. Number 12, add these numbers together. I used my calculator to add these numbers together, and I got 815.3238 for my answer. And this is multiplying the numbers out. What I did is I expanded them out and then put it in my calculator. So 10 to the third is 1,000. It gives me 98. 10 to the fourth, that's just 1 and 4 zeros. And I multiplied it out. Then here I have this 114.121 times 10 squared, which is 1 and 2 zeros. And I multiplied it out. And this one here, I have 5.825 times 10 to the first, which is 1 and 1 zero. And I multiplied it out for my answer. Nine elevenths is equivalent to what percent? So I set up a proportion here. 9 elevenths is equal to x over 100. And I cross multiply and divide it. And end up with 81.8%. Okay. The fraction number 15 is equivalent to what? I set up a proportion here. Remember, percent is parts of 100. So I have 12 over 25 is equal to x over 100. And I cross multiply and divide. And I ended up with 48% for my answer. This one here. What number is 120% of 120? Okay. So here I have 120%. Here I have a percent. So what number is 120% of 120? So those are the percents there. Of 120. So I have this here, 120 over 100 for my percent, and I have x over 120%. So I cross multiply and divide it. And I end up with 144 for my answer. So looking at it from another point here, you can see that 120 is 100% of something. So 120% of it would be what? You cross multiply and divide. And number 17, find the tax and tax rate around the nearest hundredth of a percent. So in this case, the tax amount is going to be the sale price minus the cost, 93.66 minus 87, which gives me 666 for my answer. And that's the tax amount. Tax rate, it's going to be the tax amount divided by the cost. So $6.66 divided by 87. Okay. And this simplifies. The decimal there, and there's the percent. 7.66%. Number 18. Simple interest. R is equal to P times R times T. So you see what P is. You see what R is. I wrote it in as a decimal. And T is that in years will be 2 over 12 years. So I'll put 2 over 12 here. And I multiply it out. And I end up with $44.33 for my interest. For my answer. Simple interest.